Hidden away and forgotten, these abandoned places in America tell stories time almost erased. See how life once thrived and what remains today in eerie silence. Grossinger's Indoor Pool, New York. With heated tiles, chandeliers, and luxury amenities below, this pool was unmatched in its day. Vacant since the 1990s, its decaying shell reveals lost mid-century splendor. The Pines Hotel, New York. Once a bustling Catskills resort in the Borscht Belt, the Pines thrived in the mid-20th century. Its ice rink now sits in ruins, echoing an era of summer escapes and shows. Westwood Park, Detroit. Built in the 1930s, Westwood Park once offered working-class stability, but a steady exodus since the 60s left its 400 houses weak, vacant, and slowly collapsing. Waverly Hills Sanatorium, Kentucky. Built in 1910 for tuberculosis patients, Waverly Hills later became a mental hospital. Vacant since 1982, it now hosts tours and ghost hunts in its looming ruins. Rhyolite, Nevada. Founded in 1904, Rhyolite grew fast during the gold rush, but collapsed after 1907's financial panic. Its stone ruins and bottle house now stand as eerie desert relics. Ellis Island Hospital, New Jersey. From 1902 to 1930, Ellis Island Hospital treated immigrants deemed unfit for entry. Abandoned by 1954, its eerie ruins are now accessible via guided tours. Byron Hot Springs Hotel, California. Once a celebrity retreat, Byron Hot Springs was later used as a World War II interrogation center. Abandoned after fires, it remains a haunting ruin in the California hills. Homowack Lodge, New York. This Catskills resort closed in the 2000s after serving briefly as a Hasidic retreat and camp. Its 4-lane bowling alley lies abandoned, a shell of past summer escapes. Abandoned College, America. A once bustling community college filled with students and ambition now sits deserted. Nature and neglect have reshaped its classrooms into ruins of learning. Bannack, Montana. Founded in 1862 after a gold strike, Bannack boomed briefly before decline. Now a state park, over 50 original buildings remain, preserving its ghost town legacy. Dawson, New Mexico. Dawson thrived as a coal mining town until disasters in 1913 and 1923 killed hundreds of miners. By the 1950s, it was abandoned, leaving only ruins and a vast cemetery. Letchworth Village, New York. Opened in 1911, this mental asylum became infamous for overcrowding, neglect, and human experimentation. Abandoned in 1996, its decaying halls echo with grim history. Houston Astrodome, Texas. Opened in 1965, the Astrodome was hailed as the 8th wonder of the world. Hosting sports and concerts for decades, it has sat largely unused since its 2002 closure. Bannerman Castle, New York. Built in 1901 as an arms warehouse, Bannerman Castle was damaged by explosions and later abandoned. Today, guided tours reveal its dramatic Hudson River ruins. Grossinger's Olympic Pool, New York. Built in 1949, Grossinger's Olympic-sized pool boasted cabanas and lounges for thousands. Today, its cracked remains mark the fall of one of the Catskills' greatest resorts. Pocono's Cocktail Lounge, Pennsylvania. This once cozy cocktail lounge promised peaceful relaxation and healthful recreation. Today, its empty walls reflect the vanished vibrance of Pocono's resort life. Grossinger's Indoor Pool, New York. Opened in 1958 with Elizabeth Taylor present, it became a Catskills jewel. Once a symbol of extravagance, the pool now stands silent, its grandeur long faded away. Summer in the Poconos, Pennsylvania. The Poconos were once a thriving retreat of lakes, pools, and laughter. Decades later, many resorts stand abandoned, their summer magic lost to creeping decay. Brightmoor, Detroit. Once a haven for auto workers, Brightmoor lost residents over decades, leaving vast prairies where homes stood. Some land is now used for urban farming amid crime. Ravendale, Detroit. Once filled with 1920s bungalows, Ravendale shows sharp contrasts. Some blocks are intact, while others are dotted with burned-out homes and fields of empty lots. St. Elmo, Colorado. Gold and silver drew 2,000 residents to St. Elmo in the 1880s. By the 20th century, it was deserted, but today it survives as one of America's best-preserved ghost towns. Centralia, Pennsylvania. A fire set in a mine shaft in the 1960s spread underground, leaving Centralia smoking and uninhabitable. Nearly all its 2,700 residents were forced to leave forever. Kennecott Copper Mine, Alaska. Once booming with copper, Kennecott was abandoned after the 1930s decline. Its massive red mill structures still stand as ghostly reminders of early 20th century mining. Fort Jefferson, Florida begun in 1846. This immense coastal fort in the dry Tortugas was never finished. Used as a Union prison during the Civil War, its massive brick ruins remain abandoned. Old Joliet Prison, Illinois. Opened in 1858, Joliet housed harsh conditions and executions before closing in 2002. Famous from films, it now offers guided tours through its crumbling cell blocks. Quincy Mine, Michigan. Opened in the 1840s, Quincy Mine earned the nickname Old Reliable for its copper output. Closed in 1945, it now offers tours, underground access, and a tram ride. Captain Joseph Loomis Park House, Maine. Built in Searsport, this historic home stood strong for generations. By the early 2000s, it had fallen into disrepair, a fading reminder of Maine's maritime heritage. State Fair Neighborhood, Michigan. Built in the 1910s near the Michigan State Fairgrounds, this neighborhood is now scarred by empty lots. Once vibrant, it has become a dumping ground for debris. Poconos Resort Structure, Pennsylvania. This 1970s ultra-modern building housed dining and lounges. Its bold design remains a striking sight, though age and neglect have turned it into a ghost of its past. West Virginia Penitentiary, West Virginia. Operating from 1876 to 1995, this Gothic prison saw riots, escapes, and executions. Now abandoned, its imposing halls are infamous for ghost sightings and dark history. Calico, California. Founded in 1881, Calico thrived as a silver boomtown before decline in the 1890s. Now restored as a ghost town, it's a tourist site with tours, shows, and historic buildings. Kennecott, Alaska. Once a thriving copper mining camp, Kennecott was abandoned in 1938 when the war ran out. Now a National Historic Landmark, its crumbling mills still dominate the valley. Shakespeare, New Mexico. A stage stop turned mining town, Shakespeare saw its boom in the 1870s before collapse. Designated a National Historic Site, it now survives through guided tours. Ohio State Reformatory, Ohio. Built in 1896, this massive prison held thousands until closing in 1990. Famous for the Shawshank Redemption, it now draws tourists and ghost hunters alike. Grossinger's Indoor Tennis Center, New York. Grossinger's Tennis Center doubled as an ad backdrop, even for its famed rye bread. Once bustling with energy, it now sits forgotten, echoing an era of resort luxury. Poconos Resort Residence, Pennsylvania. Once filled with laughter, this resort building now decays. A postcard once spoke of joy and friendship here, but today only silence and rot remain in its halls. Grossinger's Jenny G. Wing, New York. Built in 1964, this Morris Lapidus-designed wing reflected sleek Miami modern style. Now abandoned, its bold lines survive as a ghost of resort glamour. Petoskey Ostego, Detroit. In the 1920s, large brick homes drew Jewish families here. Now, abandonment, crime, and decay define the area, with many blocks overrun by weeds and ruins. Body, California. Body boomed in the late 1870s with nearly 10,000 residents chasing gold. By 1942, mining stopped, and today it survives as a state historic park frozen in decay. N.W. Goldberg, Detroit. More than a century old, this neighborhood was near the 1967 riot. Once bustling, its streets are now lined with boarded-up homes and empty stretches of boulevard. City Hall Subway Station, New York City. Opened in 1904, this ornate subway stop closed in 1945 due to curved tracks. Though passengers can't exit, riders on the 6 train can still glimpse its grand arches. Thurmond, West Virginia. Once a booming railroad hub after 1903, Thurmond declined when diesel engines replaced steam. Nearly deserted today, it survives as a ghost town on the New River. Ludlow, Colorado. In 1914, a miners' strike ended in massacre as troops killed 25, including 11 children. Ludlow was abandoned, leaving behind ruins, tents, and a solemn memorial site. Poconos Postcard, 1967. A message promised horseback rides and golf under the summer sun. The resort's pools once sparkled with life, but today the grounds are left to wither away. North Brother Island, New York. Used to quarantine contagious patients from the 1880s to 1943, it later housed veterans and teens. Now a bird sanctuary, its decaying ruins remain closed to the public. Ohio State Reformatory, Ohio. Opened in 1896, this prison housed thousands until its 1990 closure. Famous as the setting of the Shawshank Redemption, it now offers tours through its eerie cell blocks. Poconos Theater, Pennsylvania. Once alive with music and applause, this resort theater has sat dark since the early 1990s. Its decaying stage now hides behind a curtain that never rose again. Overlook Mountain House, New York. Built in 1871 in the Catskills, this grand hotel burned multiple times before being abandoned in 1921. Its stone shell still looms over hikers on Overlook Mountain. Eastern State Penitentiary, Pennsylvania. Opened in 1829, Eastern State pioneered solitary confinement under Quaker ideals. Closed in 1971, It now operates as a museum of haunting ruins and prison history. Smallpox Memorial Hospital, New York. Built in the 1850s on Roosevelt Island, this Gothic hospital isolated smallpox victims. Abandoned since the 1950s, its ivy-covered ruins add a haunting presence to Manhattan. Old Charleston Jail, South Carolina. From 1802 to 1939, this jail housed pirates, Civil War prisoners, and notorious criminals. Abandoned but preserved, it now hosts chilling ghost tours through its cells. Bannock, Montana. Founded in 1862 during Montana's first gold rush, Bannock quickly grew then declined as mines emptied. Preserved as a state park, its weathered ghost town endures. Michigan Central Station, Michigan opened in 1913. This Beaux-Arts rail hub became a Detroit landmark before closing in 1988. Once vandalized, it's now under a massive restoration led by Ford Motor Company. Elm Crest, Connecticut. This mental hospital began as a mansion before 1942. Later part of a campus of stately homes, it now sits abandoned, a faded relic of institutional expansion. Burbank, Detroit. This East Side neighborhood, built in the 1920s and 30s, now has burned-out homes and empty strips. Once white, today it is the city's youngest community by age. Poconos Dining Hall, Pennsylvania. Once covered in bright red and orange carpet, this dining hall now hosts only moss. Nature has crept inside, reclaiming a space once filled with laughter and music. Penn Hills Lodge, Pennsylvania. The Penn Hills Lodge boasted the Swimmin' Sun indoor pool, advertised as the Poconos' finest. Once a retreat for couples, its cracked remains tell another story today. Poconos Resort Theater, Pennsylvania. With 1,200 seats, this theater was the resort world's most modern showplace. Now empty, its faded grandeur recalls weekends filled with shows, laughter, and postcards. Poconos Resort, Pennsylvania. After fire destroyed the main lodge, a striking modernist structure rose in the 1970s. Tucked in the woods, it stands abandoned, resembling a futuristic ruin in decay. West Virginia Penitentiary. Built in 1876, this Gothic prison housed executions and harsh conditions before closing in 1995. Today, it's a tourist site known for ghost tours and paranormal lore. Grossinger's Poolside, New York. Once hosting fashion shows and glittering events, this poolside now lies overgrown. Ferns and fungi thrive where stylish crowds once gathered to celebrate. Gricksdale Farms, Detroit. Once thriving, much of this neighborhood lies abandoned and burned. Only Gricksdale and Hilldale Avenues retain their wide lots and stately architecture, though fading. Sloss Furnaces, Alabama. Once a leading pig iron producer, Sloss Furnaces shut in 1971 under new regulations. Saved from demolition, it's now a National Historic Landmark and museum site. Grossinger's Outdoor Pool, New York. Once alive with diving shows and crowds, Grossinger's Pool was the jewel of the Catskills Resort. Now overgrown and silent, it's a haunting ruin of Borscht Belt leisure. Eastern State Penitentiary, Pennsylvania. Known for its harsh solitary system, Eastern State has since gained a reputation for paranormal activity, drawing both historians and ghost hunters to its ruins. Grossinger's Indoor Pool, New York. This indoor pool offered rainy-day luxury to resort guests. Its grand structure still stands, but the decayed walls and stagnant waters reflect its long abandonment. Homowack Lodge, New York. A Catskills favorite, the Homowack Lodge offered bowling, shows, and summer retreats. Closed and abandoned, its worn halls recall the golden age of resort culture. Goldfield Hotel, Nevada. Opened in 1908, the Goldfield Hotel symbolized wealth in Nevada's boomtown. Abandoned with the town's decline, it's now famed as a hotspot for paranormal investigations. Barker House, Alabama. Built in 1860 in Cahaba, the Barker House included slave quarters said to be haunted. Today, the ruins stand as grim reminders of slavery and the town's vanished past.